If you've read our ebook on managing poor performance, perhaps downloaded some of the other resources, you've got a fair idea of where to start. But of course, reading about it and seeing it happen in practical application are two different things. My goal in this video is to show you some of the common mistakes that managers make when having performance-related discussions, as well as some strategies to avoid them. Your discussion's really going to have three key phases: the way you start or open the discussion, the main body of the discussion, and the way you finish off or close the discussion with the employee. We'll work through each of those in order. As we debrief each of the mistakes a manager could make, we'll make sure we get that stage right before we move to the next one. So Rachel, thanks for coming in today. I just wanted to talk with you about some of the stuff that's been going on. I've got, no, they're yours. The stuff that's been happening in the office lately, and we're just some stuff we need to. Sorry. Hello. Look, I'm just in a meeting at the moment. Yeah. Righto. So 2 litres of milk and bread. Okay. So the message from this one's really clear. Performance-based discussions can be uncomfortable, they can be challenging. Don't make it worse by being disorganised. Before the performance-based discussion, make sure that you know specifically what you want to cover, the questions you want to ask. Have your paperwork in order. If there's documentation, if there's notes you've taken, have it in logical order. And of course, get rid of the mobile phone, get rid of all other distractions. You need an environment where both you and the person you're talking to can concentrate. All right, Rachel, let's just cut to it. What's been happening is not good enough, and I'm just frustrated. I'm busy. You can see. You can see my desk, you can see what I've got on, I've got so many other people to deal with, and I just don't have time to deal with someone behaving the way you do. So this obviously isn't going to end well. Whether it's nerves, whether it's a lack of skill, whether that's the natural style that manager has, opening the discussion with aggression is not going to get the outcome you're looking for. Let's face it. When you have a performance-based discussion with someone, what you're really aiming for is an improvement in that performance or in that behaviour. You certainly won't get that from someone who's feeling attacked or under pressure. Just work through the psychology. If someone's defensive, they're by definition deflecting what's coming at them. That includes the key message. This might make you feel better, it might help you get something off your chest, but it certainly won't result in improved performance or even high team morale. Hi Rachel, thanks for coming in and having a chat with me today.
Yep.
How are you feeling about the discussion?
Oh, well look, I'm a bit nervous, but we have to have the talk, so
yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, and look, to give you a sense of the way we're going to handle this, there are some things I want to chat with you about. But I do want to hear your perspective. So perhaps you can just give me a bit of the background. We've talked about why you're here, but give me your perspective on what's been happening.
Yep, fair enough.
Obviously that's worked a lot better. My goal there is to put Rachel at ease. I want her to be receptive to the things I need to talk with her about. And let's be honest, she does have a perspective, and her perspective may change the discussion we're about to have. Perhaps by asking her questions at the beginning of the discussion, I get more information, which helps me handle the conversation in a different way. Now that we've started, Rachel's as relaxed as she's going to be, given that it's a performance-based discussion. Let's move to the second stage, the main body of the discussion. So Rachel, obviously you haven't been getting on that well with John, and that's impacting the project you're working on.
Yep.
Look, I know John's not always easy, and he can be quite demanding. But look, he's got his own style, and I just think you've got to get used to that. You know, it's going to work a lot better for the project if you just sort of maybe tolerate each other a bit. I know that you're very different personalities. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yep.
Okay. Again, this one may be based on nerves, it may be based on lack of practice, but the really big issue here is something I alluded to as we moved into this phase. I spent all my time there telling rather than asking. Now, by telling, I'm going to get the one word, the stilted responses that Rachel gave me. I'm not really learning anything about the situation. I really don't know much about whether my message is landing with her. If I change my strategy and ask good, open questions, Rachel, tell me about what's been happening with John. I'm going to get a lot more information, and ideally, I'm going to get a lot more engagement from Rachel. So Rachel, there's obviously been a few communication issues with John, just not getting along, that sort of stuff. Yeah, how's it all going with you two?
Yeah, we just don't get along. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's hard when you've got different personalities working together, and look, I know it can't always be easy, but you know, it is important that you make that effort to get along.
Yeah, right. How do you suggest I make the effort?
Look, I just think you've got to be more patient with each other and a bit more tolerant. Just accept you've got different styles, and yeah, does that seem to?
No.
One of the hardest things for managers to do in performance-based discussions is be direct. The problem is when you're not direct, it ends up wishy-washy. When I babble on about communicating better and different personalities, Rachel's got nothing to go on. I need to give her specific, tangible issues and, critically, specific, tangible solutions. I know being direct can be uncomfortable. For me to look at Rachel and say to her, you did this and it caused this problem, is really confronting. It can be confronting for her, it can be confronting for me. If I've started the conversation well, if I've got a positive intent during our discussion, it makes that direct conversation much easier. Easier or not, it's essential that the message is direct enough that Rachel gets the intended message. We can have direct and honest conversations that are still respectful. So Rachel, obviously in the conversation with John, you've said some things that were pretty direct to him. So I think you've been just too blunt with him.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, and I feel like I'm being picked on right here.
Look, this is not about being picked on. This is really about the performance, the issues you're having when you're trying to work with John, which can't go on.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about because this is obviously his fault. And the way you're talking to me, I can go to your boss and tell him that you're not treating me right.
Look, it's really not treating you poorly if I'm asking you...
This is workplace bullying right here.
Wow, she really knows the magic words, doesn't she? Picked on, bullying, talk to your boss. The only thing she didn't threaten were either to quit or talk to human resources. This is the point at which many managers crumble. They start to worry about the consequences of dealing with this behaviour. They start to crumble, they start to back off. And that's the worst possible mistake. We should never allow an employee to hold us to ransom. Always ask yourself this question. Am I asking this person to do something reasonable? And am I asking them in a reasonable way? This is not an either-or situation. You must be able to tick both boxes. Assuming you can, none of those threats make any difference. They're all hollow. Of course, if you can't tick both boxes, if what you're asking is unreasonable, or if the way you're asking is unreasonable, it is you that needs to change your behaviour. In the discussion I was having with Rachel, those weren't the case. I was simply asking in a reasonable way for her to improve her workplace performance. And that's the job of a manager. So Rachel, we obviously need to talk about what's been happening in the team.
Yeah.
Just talk to me a bit about that.
It is just, things are just not going well.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
So what's leading to that? Why aren't things going well?
I don't know. They're just not.
Look, let's not worry about it. I can see you're really upset. It's probably just not worth the fuss. Should we just leave it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that is a tough one. None of us like to see someone cry. In fact, as soon as someone cries, we can tend to feel guilty as though it's our fault. In this case, it's not. Again, go back to that question. Are you asking something reasonable? And are you asking in a reasonable way? If that's the case, it's not your fault. However, they may quite naturally be upset. And there can be many causes of that. Now, perhaps in this case, Rachel's crying because she's intimidated, in which case it's really important I make this discussion as non-threatening as possible while still getting to the point. It could be that she feels guilty, that she's worried that her behaviour has been bad and she's disappointed with herself. She may be feeling overwhelmed, or crying might be her natural response. Regardless, bailing out was not the right option. Now, we have to balance humanity with getting the outcome. What I would suggest doing in that situation is slowing down, pausing, offer a tissue, perhaps even suggest, would you like to take a break? Do you need a few moments to compose yourself? Can I get you a drink? All of those strategies are fine, but ending the conversation and burying the issue isn't. Perhaps after we take a short break and Rachel composes herself, we can come back to the discussion. And at that time, I can say to her, I know this is difficult, I know this is challenging. There's no reason just because I'm managing her performance that I can't be empathetic. But having acknowledged that I know this is a challenging situation, that it's uncomfortable, I still need to get on and make sure we address the issues we're there to discuss. So, Rachel, the issue seems to be that when you and John are working together and you've got different ideas about how to do the project, that can cause a bit of friction. Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, I think because our personalities clash, and we're pretty strong-headed people.
Yeah.
So we just want to get our point across, and that's just, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I can see that, and what I can also see is that you're both doing what you think is best.
Yeah.
Both if you want to get a good outcome on this project.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Just have a different approach to it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How could you change this? How could we make this a more effective relationship?
Well, I think, first of all, both of us have to put our emotions aside. And if we just focus on getting the best for the project, we should just accept the best outcome, whoever's idea it was.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So it's not a matter of winning or losing,
No.
is it? I want to go back to something you said.
Yeah.
You talked about putting your emotions aside. How would you do that in the heat of the moment?
Well, just breathe, I guess. Just count 1, 2, 3, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one option.
Yeah.
Can I give you another one?
Sure.
There might be times where you know where this is heading,
Yeah.
and perhaps you can say to John, can I have 30 seconds or can I have half an hour? Even be honest and say, listen, I'm probably feeling a bit over the top right now.
Yeah.
Could I just take a moment to absorb what we've talked about
Yeah.
and come back to you?
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I think being upfront about it is also really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes hard, isn't it, to
Yeah.
control your emotions in the moment.
Yeah.
You just need to buy yourself that time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great. Thank you.
So that's worked a whole lot better. Did you notice that instead of me imposing a solution on Rachel, I asked her what she felt she could do better? She came up with some great answers. Now, as a manager, theoretically someone with a lot of experience, I also had some ideas that I was willing to share with her. Overall, the conversation was much more two-way, and it ended with some agreed outcomes. I think we're ready to move to a final stage. All right, Rachel, well, thanks for coming in, and I feel better having had the conversation. How about you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got it cleared up a bit. So you're just going to go away and you're going to do your best with John?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Look, I've got a lot of belief in you, and I know you'll do your best.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Thanks,
Rachel.
Simon.
Simon.
Cheers. So that was a nice fuzzy finish. Rachel certainly walked away feeling okay about where we went, but it just feels a little loose, doesn't it? The problem we have is that we talked about what was going wrong. We may have even talked about some solutions, but in that closing phase, we haven't pinned it down to next actions. What's going to happen when Rachel leaves the room? How will I monitor how Rachel and John are going in their communication? If we fail to identify specific, tangible actions, it's highly likely Rachel will go out there and do her best. Now, to be honest, she's probably been doing her best already, and her best wasn't quite good enough. Her best is the reason we had this discussion. Let's give her some specific things she can do to improve her best. Rachel, thanks for a discussion. I appreciate you being so open to what I've said.
Yeah, thank you as well.
You feeling okay about it?
Yeah, much better.
It's sometimes better to have this stuff out in the open, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great. Look, let's just go through what we've agreed to do. You're going to talk to John.
Yep.
Maybe clear the air a bit with him.
Yep.
When do you think you'll do that?
I'll do it right away after our talk. You really inspired me with your ideas, so that's really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you're feeling under pressure with John, what are your strategies there?
I'll tell him up front that I need some time to go back and think about it, and definitely keep my emotions at bay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And when little things happen, because no one expects you to be perfect, when little things happen, maybe as soon as the heat's gone out of the situation, go back and clear it up.
Yeah.
Great. Look, I'd love to chat with you again in about a week or 10 days.
Yep.
I'll send you an email and we'll set up a time.
Okay.
Just to check in, see how things are going. It won't be anything formal, it'll just be something to help us check in, make sure the solutions are working, and see if we need to do any fine tuning.
Okay, that sounds great.
Great. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Simon.
So that went a lot better. Rachel now knows specifically what I want her to do. She told me a lot of them, and I just confirmed them. There's a list of actions she can take, and when I talk to her again, I can check in on those things. The fact that I'm going to be talking to her again in 7 to 10 days adds a little bit of imperative or urgency. She knows this isn't just, okay, go and do your best, let's see how it goes. She knows that she's going to be accountable. I'm going to be asking in 7 to 10 days, what's happened? How did it go? What have you managed to improve, and what do we need to work on? In any performance management discussion, you owe it to the person you're talking to make sure they leave with absolute clarity about the next steps. As a quick recap, here are the 7 major mistakes I made during this video. We don't show you these to inspire you, we show you these to help you avoid them. If you're struggling to deal with poor performance, poor behaviour in the workplace, this video and our ebook are certainly a great starting point. However, we know they may not be enough. That's why we've designed an interactive workshop called Managing Poor Performance. In that workshop, we talk about practical strategies, we dive deeper into the things discussed in the ebook and on this video, we look specifically at the issues you're facing with your specific people and create an action plan with you to deal with the performance issues that are holding your team back. If you'd like to accelerate your team's performance, give us a call today to discuss running Managing Poor Performance for your managers. We hope you enjoyed the video. We had a lot of fun making it. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen our videos and articles on discretionary effort, on getting that extra step from your team. But Rachel rubbed onion in her eyes so she could cry for you in this video. If you're not getting discretionary effort from your team just like that, perhaps you should give us a call.